All right. You guys know this, but we have Damon Price on. I would love to give Damon the opportunity to introduce himself.
Yeah. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Some fun. I'm on the coffee run.
Yeah. Got a free hat?
I got a free hat, dude.
Yeah.
No one's mad about free gear. No, I'm Damon Price, one of the co-founders of PureLight Power, Chief Sales Officer. So I oversee our sales department, sales guys, outside sales, and then we also have an in-house creative, and I call them sales experience team. So that's video, marketing, all the stuff that's not what you do is what our department does. When I say that, of like digital content, digital marketing, I don't oversee that group, but when it comes to making cool stuff and making it look good and making this a fun place to work, it's my wheelhouse. It's what I've done for a long time. So doing cool stuff.
So with those that don't know, PureLight Power does home solar. And so I guess first question, how did you get into solar? And why are you still in it?
Yeah, so I was at my previous company for 12 years. Did door-to-door sales there for a long time, and then pivoted corporate to build sales platforms. So I kind of had this niche skill of being able to identify revenue goals of the business, had the ability to sell, and then had this creative arm of being able to bridge that gap and making it a relatable and understandable story. So those last 6 years, I worked on the corporate side, creating sales tools, sales materials, sales apps, marketing materials for customers, uniforms, competition platforms so sales could thrive, and really amazing events to retain top talent. And then I met my now partners where our vision kind of aligned. That company that I was with did smart home and solar, so alarms and solar. So we had all come from the sales background, smart home background, solar background. We all understood that there was solar being done the wrong way, and our interests aligned, our goals aligned, and we ended up starting our own solar company that basically accomplished that. If you go through any of our corporate buildings and you see a lot of our apparel and swag, it says redefining the solar experience. And anyone who's come to visit us, and we fly people into Medford every single week. We have new people from around the country visiting us and then signing with us. And most of these guys have been in solar for a long time, and we definitely deliver a wow factor. They walk through our operations, they walk through our culture, they walk through all of it, and it truly is done differently. You talk to our customers and you look at our reviews. We have over 4,000 five-star reviews. We've installed over 19,000 homes, and it's hard to find something negative online, but that doesn't just come by product, it's by design. And we just felt we could do it better. We could do it better than anyone else has, and so far we've been doing all right.
Well, proof's in the pudding there. A big part of that, I think, where you and I connect, and we'll have deeper conversations when we do a podcast about this as we order our coffee. But
I've never gotten coffee here before.
You haven't?
No.
You could hit a golf ball here from your office.
I can. I can see my office from this parking lot.
Hi, thank you for choosing Royal. What can I get started for you today?
I'm gonna do just a medium iced cold brew. Do you have nitro?
Yeah, we have nitro.
I'll do a nitro cold brew, please.
Which one is your favorite?
I'd say the Sunset is the most supreme.
I want the most supreme energy drink you can have, so I'm absolutely doing a Sunset.
Do you want to do a 20 or a 24 ounce?
20, please.
Okay.
That's gonna be it.
Else?
That's it.
Is that nitro for you?
Thank you.
And your supreme.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Have a good day. You too.
This is super supreme.
It looks very supreme.
This looks like a Frazzle. Did you ever have Frazzle on the golf course?
No.
Kids drink. And that's exactly what it looks like.
What's super interesting to me, obviously, I'm marketing biased, but is your take on brand. I know we've gone deep about this, but the question that would be really valuable for people to know is, from your point of view, owning and building a huge brand by all standards, how does someone or a company attain a great reputation and brand?
It's a great question. There are a lot of people who believe that brand is your color and your logo, and that's it. That's kind of where you end, where it's the exact, not the opposite, but it's in addition to, is the brand is the experience that somebody has. It's what somebody says behind your back when you're not in the room. That could be a personal brand or it could be a company brand. But what they say and what that experience is, it comes from what you deliver consistently for a long period of time, for good and for bad. The companies who you often speak poorly of or the people you speak poorly of are not because they look bad or they sound bad. It's because you've had a bad experience with them consistently for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. And there's no shortcuts. You can't shortcut and make a brand as powerful as McDonald's by just saying I'm as powerful as McDonald's or I make as much money as McDonald's. They've been doing it forever.
There's like a lot of perfectly done fries that go into that brand.
Correct. And that's exactly, you hit the nail on the head is, you know what you expect when you get to McDonald's. Sure. You're not getting a Five Guys burger, an In-N-Out burger. You're getting a McDonald's burger, but the reason it has consistency and you know what you're getting is every time it's the same.
Sure.
The same would be if you're talking with PureLight or you're talking with Juggernaut. You want to have that same experience be the same every time. And then you look from a company perspective, customer perspective, employee perspective, because it's not just gobbling in new customers. It's also about retaining top talent. And if you can deliver a consistent environment and a consistent product over a long period of time, and a long period of time is a relative phrase, but a long period of time, that is the brand. And then it comes down to consistency. Optically, the logo usage, the color usage, the font usages also needs to be consistent. You know what you're getting if you buy a Tesla. They all look the same, they feel the same, the logos are the same. You can go to a Tesla website, open up a Tesla brochure, go to a Tesla store. There's brand consistency. Brand consistency leads to brand trust, and then the trust breeds your brand. So it's not just how you look, it's what you do. That is a brand. Yeah,
and you could argue that, you know, breaks in consistency are literally setbacks to the growth and the trust of the brand overall.
Correct.
And ultimately, whatever the time frame is, it just adds time on to where you're trying to get, which is obviously a brand that's trusted and is a McDonald's, which is
correct.
A no-brainer for billions of.
Well, and you have a lot of guys who, let's say, I don't want to say it's a mom and pop shop, but maybe a smaller company, or it's a franchise that goes to try to kick out their own thing. Let's say you went to a Burger King and you were on the road, you stopped at a Burger King and the font was not the same, the logo was not the same, and for some reason you get in, it just didn't feel the same. Low trust. You're like, is this even a real Burger King?
Yeah.
And it may be a real one, but the guy went off the record and he did his own thing. You set back. You set back in your brand, and then also you lost trust. They trust you because it's consistent, it's reliable, it's the same every time.
There's a big unknown leading up to that first bite of that burger.
Yes. Yes. If I show up and it says Burger Queen, and I'm like, what are they doing here? You know?
Yeah. So on a personal level, what would be your formula on how to get ahead and stay ahead?
It's the daily habits. Like, I love reading. You and I talk about it all the time. I love audio. I'm an audiobook guy. I'm not a visual reading guy. I'll read letters and words and whatever, and I just tune out. So I have to do audiobooks. I typically do my audiobooks in the morning. And one of the books I love is Atomic Habits. We read it every year as a company book club. That was our book last month. But within Atomic Habits, it talks about this 1% rule, and it's 1% better either daily, weekly, monthly, whatever, but you're constantly improving. The 1% difference consistently over a long period of time, massive results. And so when it comes to your daily habits, I probably don't do something very different than most people that are 33 years old, but I do it consistently. So let's say the gym, and I'll use my own example, and this is kind of the differentiator over time. There was a gentleman who I was talking to 3 years ago, same exact age. He came up and said, you've done X, Y, and Z. You were at this company. You started a supplement company, sold the supplement. You've done all this. We're the same age. What the hell, right? And in my case, I pulled it back and I said, well, what are you doing on a daily basis? Are you going to the gym? Are you reading? Let's just do those two. Because I love fitness. I love this stuff.
Sure.
He's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not reading. I'm like, well, my ask of you is to go read and to work out an hour a day every day for the next year, and let's reconvene next December and let's talk. Next December comes around. I then use this analogy of a graph and said, last year you and I were right here. We both had the same hours in a year. In theory, we both should have the same gap. Like, I progressed and you progressed.
Sure.
Did you go to the gym every day? Did you read every day? No. Cool. So now this December and last December, that gap is even bigger. We're still the same age, but I've now improved 365 days. I have 365 hours more in reading, 365 more workouts. You don't. I'm better than I was last year, and you're the same. And the more that time goes by, you become uncatchable. Like, it's inevitable. I'll be 40 years old, he'll be 40 years old, and there's not a single thing, there's not enough hours in a day where he'd be able to bridge that gap.
Because you have compound interest of like the boring stuff that most people won't do.
Correct.
But the truth is it's, you know, you could probably speak to this better than I can, but things don't just happen overnight in terms of like success and stuff like that. I mean, what do they say? You know, it takes however long to become an overnight success. It's
Correct.
all of that stuff every morning when you're tired and you don't want to do it, you don't want to read, you don't want to work out.
Yeah.
Just the simple act of doing it, and most of it's boring.
Yep.
I don't- I don't-
Dude, it's not even these massive things. It's the small things.
Or they're hard.
Which comes
Yeah.
to like, we have a thing, we run a corporate called Do Hard Things Challenge, which anyone who understands 75 hard, it's hard. It is not easy.
It's very hard.
So we bridged it. It's almost our version of 75 soft, but it's something that's scalable and it just gets people out of their comfort zone. It consists of reading, working out, cold plunge, and there's a few other things, but
yeah.
oh, and also eating habits. Just do it consistent. These small little changes will have a massive impact on your life. You parallel it to business. The small little things done consistently have compounding effects. Your word compound is perfect. And I would take it from a customer service standpoint, is being the same person every time. And when the more you're in leadership, the more you're in executive leadership, you have forfeited the right to be an emotional roller coaster. Your brand is stability and your brand is confidence. If someone's going to be reaching out to you, they need to be getting the same you every time. And in my case, if they're getting a call, I could be going through all types of shit. I could be going through all types of things on a personal level. It's not their problem. How you deal with your shit is what differentiate from senior leadership, executive leadership, and beyond. And those that bring that into, call it conversations and customer service and interactions, they've capped themselves until they figure out that skill to kind of push that down.
Yeah.
And I would love that anytime you and I get in a car, that I'm the same person. You and I have gone on trips together, we've spoken together and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I will be the same guy, and you don't know all the crap that I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah.
And you don't know all the stuff on a personal side. I may have a kid in the hospital right now. You'll never know.
Yeah.
But it's also not your problem. It's my problem. And my problem is to solve your stuff right now.
Yeah.
And so that consistency factor, we talked about brand, and then parallel to a personal brand. Your personal brand doesn't mean that you have to have a logo that says, you know, Damon Price DP, and that's the logo and that's Damon's brand. It's like, no. Damon's brand is positivity. Damon's brand is consistency. Damon's brand is work ethic and problem solving.
Yeah.
And I would say attitude.
Yeah.
There's like these three pieces I talk about all the time, and I would use this in a hiring process of attitude, talent, and work ethic. And I would do those almost in those, well, I'll do it a reverse. It's like work ethic. Work ethic will trump talent all day long. Attitude will trump talent all day long. And so if you can check those three boxes, they don't have to be in that exact order. That's what would make a good partner, a good team member, a good employee, a good spouse, is like attitude, work ethic, and talent.
Yeah.
If you're focusing on those, you again, going back to the untouchables, you're not touchable at that point.
Right. Was there a moment for you where, because for most people, by the way, this is possible for everybody. Anybody listening, it's 100% possible. It resonates with me. I've applied this to my own life and seen tremendous results across the board, professionally, financially, and personally. This is kind of an acquired thing, right? Like, sure, some people are born with it, but anybody can do it. Do you remember a moment in your life where, like, it hit you and you're like, okay, like, I have to commit to being consistent, and I have to commit to having a positive attitude and being the same all the time?
There wasn't like an aha moment. It became an aha moment when I started to read more books and was able to like align myself with the talents and these stories that were being shared. I'm like, oh wait.
You started
I've kinda
believing in it more, maybe?
Correct.
And like, okay.
And I'm like, I've done this, but where it really separated, and mainly I first started by me separating myself from my peers. And then after that, it was separating our company from other companies. So it's like you did it on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
And the first aha moment was I served a 2-year service mission for my church. I lived in southern Mexico, right on the border of Guatemala. You serve your church, you're not paid. You actually pay to be there. You knock doors all day, every day, and you're teaching about Christ. And the how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yep.
A mentality really sunk in where it's like, if I'm gonna go sacrifice 2 years of my life for service, I'm gonna go all in. And this moment where separating from the peers is I just started to only speak Spanish. I stopped speaking English entirely. If I was gonna be in Mexico, I'm gonna speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Even to my American counterparts, I spoke Spanish because I wanted to be the best Spanish speaker.
Yeah.
The next is if we're gonna knock every day, all day, I'm gonna knock every day, all day, no days off.
Yeah.
And I could do anything hard for 2 years. And there was just a lot that didn't think that way. And in my head is like, wait, we're the same age, we're doing the same thing, we signed up for the same thing, we're paying the same amount of money to do this service mission. I'm just gonna do it different. And then you parallel that to the corporate. I got back from Mexico, walked into the company I worked at for 12 years, said I want to go knock doors, sell alarms. And immediately I separated myself from the first year sales rep. And I said, why would I want to be like a first year sales rep when I'm just as human as the best sales reps? So I stopped looking at the rookie reps and started to look at the top. Started to look at the top reps and what are they doing? How are they working? Could care less about the average sales numbers. And to parallel it, fast forward to the end of that first year, the average first year rep was doing like 60 to 70 sales a year. I did 140 sales that first year and was more online with what a veteran rep was doing.
Wow.
And then it just kind of clicked, is like, everybody is human, everybody has the same amount of hours in a day. Why wouldn't I just learn from the best and separate myself from those who I should be in the same group with?
Right.
And it just, that would be a click moment of like, you don't have to be like those that are at your same age, you can start to learn from the more experienced, learn from the olders, from those that have been there, done that, and kind of expedite your learning, right?
Sure.
Expedite your learning curve. And then no excuses. Is like, I had every excuse to say I should go do 60 accounts in the first year, because everyone my age, everyone in their first year did 60 accounts.
Right.
But if there are guys doing more, why don't I do more?
Yeah. I mean, I have a question here that I was going to ask that's effectively already been answered, which is what separates those who are successful at the highest level from the rest, right? And you've already pretty much covered it, but yeah.
Well, I mean, there's the customer service aspect. I was fortunate enough to have amazing mentors at that prior company. The average age of my closest friend was maybe 45, 50 years old. They'd been there, done that a long time, run very high-performing sales team, large companies. And one thing that stayed consistent between the best was customer relationships, transparencies, and honesty. And if you can just be brutally honest and transparent and trust your people with information, and then also have their best interests at heart, you can gain loyalty. And then you don't build this you don't build a legacy off of just making a massive company. You build a legacy off of integrity, and that can become your brand. And if you have integrity, you'll have a forever brand, personal and company.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that when they work with you, they get what they get. It's honest. He's a good person inside and outside of work. He doesn't put on this face. He is the same dude across the board. And if you're a bad dude across the board, bad brand. And then there are those who put on the face, and when they put on the face, they will break character sometime.
Yep.
So you can't fake integrity. You can be honest sometimes and help them and then break character, but it's the guys who have the best integrity and the hardest work ethic at that same level that go on and build the forever brands.
I mean, what you're talking about, if somebody actually applied it and you have applied it, where you want to be in 10 years, and most people would get to in 10 years, you can get there in 1.
You could.
Or 2 or 3, I mean, you're talking about like literally speeding up time by just eliminating things that hold you back.
Yep.
Right.
Well, there's a quote, and I wish I remember where it came from. But they say if you're always reading, you always have something to say. So I have something to say. And you and I can go through the same year, but 1 year of work does not equal 1 year of experience.
Right.
The same way that if someone goes and does something for 4 years, we could both be in solar. You could day one come into solar, and for the next 4 years, we've technically been doing it the same amount of time, let's say. But why am I so much better? It's because my 4 years was 4 years of learning experience compounding, and you just happen to pass the time here. And it's what you do on the daily basis that kind of expedites that or throttles that, for good or for bad.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that perspective. I've heard you say that no one cares about your career more than you do, right? So this can go one way or the other. Can you elaborate on that?
And I say it a lot. It's for one, there's a lot of moving parts. Everybody cares about their own well-being. We have our own families, we have our own health, our own money-making goals. And you can't wait for somebody to just give you the answer or put you in the position to dominate. Is you kind of have to go just get it. If you don't feel like you're being given enough education to excel in your role, you go out and get the education and bring it to yourself, because no one's going to care about your career more than you care about your career. And the same goes for the open conversations. Like, let's say you're an employee at a company. I was at my company for 12 years, 6 years in the corporate space. And I was lucky enough to be aligned with mentors that cared about my well-being. But don't think for a second it didn't require me going out of the box, going above and beyond in my own role, call it excelling or dominating in the role you're in, but then also being able to have the conversations and set clear goals to reach the next tier, from director to senior director to VP to C-level. You have to have transparent conversations because everyone cares about you, but no one cares about your career more than you will. And it doesn't mean that you make out of touch comments saying, I demand a raise, I demand a promotion. It's you work so hard, have so much out on the table, create so much value, quantify your value, and almost make the conversation awkward if you go and ask for the raise or the promotion. It's like, oh, dude, we should have done this a long time ago. That's now you're in the position to just kill it.
Yeah, because on the same token, they care about their careers way more than they care about yours.
Most times.
Most times.
Yep, most times.
Yeah.
And doesn't mean that your boss or your leader doesn't care about you, but they can't be thinking about you 24/7 because there's hundreds of others or thousands of others
And
that they're trying to think of.
And they have a family. And
That's exactly right. And so you can't just be doing the work or be part of an organization and kind of operate in silence. You have to make some noise, but you don't make negative noise. You don't demand things. No one likes that. But also learn how to almost brag tactfully. It's like if you can brag tactfully, and you brag tactfully by backing it with numbers, if you can parallel your efforts with dollar values, and like I say, revenue goals of the business, and this is where my niche is I can bridge those two gaps.
yeah.
An example would be we run a sales competition, and I'll parallel this to 7 years ago. We run a sales competition, which someone would be like, oh, that's cool, you hand out swag, trips, all this stuff. It's like, no, dude, this is about revenue goals. Here's the baseline prior to the competition for the last 9 months. We run the competition for the next 30 days. Here's the baseline now. $350 million in revenue for that one competition. You can quantify the value of your effort.
Right.
If there wasn't someone who was in touch with that, they would run the competition, say, that was really cool, everyone loved it, we made cool stuff. Quantify it. So then you go with numbers, you back it, you support it, and then it makes it a lot easier when you go run it the next time, or to do another one, or to do another one, or to be able to say, look, dude, I brought in an additional $1 million in revenue this year with these efforts. Now it's not out of touch to say I want to talk about what the next step looks like, more pay, new roles, new responsibilities. You bring in $1 million in revenue and you're wanting a $50,000 raise, that's kind of an easy conversation.
Sure
but
is.
if you want the $50,000 raise and you can't quantify your efforts, it's a harder conversation.
Right. We're pulling in here. We're about to wrap up. I saw you post something the other day.
What I post.
Or you commented or something like that, and you basically said, hey, if you work at like Taco Bell, McDonald's, or a gas station or something
direct
like
sales,
that, you should quit and go find a direct sales job.
Correct.
Obviously you said that in a little like 30-second Instagram clip or something like that, but for our little going away treat for our audience here, why would somebody do that?
There's no, and I firmly believe this, I started knocking doors when I was just under 10 years old. We were doing address painting curbs, my brother and I. 12 years old, we started to do aeration and lawn care. Then I sold window well covers door to door. Then I sold alarms. And then I started to sell visions and ideas and business models, right? Sell brand. And your idea is only as good as your ability to articulate it and to communicate it. So I say there's no better role than direct sales. Whatever you go into, you go to become a doctor, you go to become a digital marketer, you open a coffee shop, anything we just done. You can't argue that a guy who's better at sales is going to be better than the guy who's not.
Sure.
The guy who's better at sales can articulate his idea, he can seek to understand the needs of the client, the customer, the employee, serve it up in a way that they can digest it, and you can sell them on ideas, sell them on visions. And so if you can do it at an early age, and I think in that post I said if you're the age of 15 and 25, there's nothing better you could do. And in my case, it's like from the door-to-door address painting to window well covers to selling Jesus to then selling alarms is get really good at communicating, really good at articulating your ideas, and then people can get on board with it. And then it could be even as simple as like you want to go see a movie, your friend wants to see another movie, you could probably persuade him to go see the movie you want because you develop the power of persuasion.
Sure.
And if you want to go be a doctor, you will be a better doctor than the guy who didn't do it. You want to go be a lawyer, you'll be a damn good lawyer, better than the guy who didn't do it. And there's no better time to do it in that age range. And you can go pick it up later for sure. It'll always benefit you. But those are such developmental years where they can make good money. There's no salary cap. You're not on an hourly thing. It's a commission only based job where they can learn this entrepreneurial mindset of like reap what you sow, eat what you kill. And you don't know any different after that. You're like, why would I want to have an hourly job that's capping me here when I can go gobble up my own commission? You sell something, you make money, you don't eat. That's a scary spot to be in, and a lot of people can't stomach it.
Yeah.
But those that can tee themselves up for something much bigger down the road.
I mean, Grant Cardone literally wrote a book, Sell or Be Sold. That even if you're
that's
not in sales, you are either selling something or you are being sold something.
Always are.
By your spouse, by your friends, by your boss, by your clients, by your potential clients, friends. Yeah.
Yep. And this goes to, parallel to your first question with a brand is now I sell the vision of PureLight every single day. We bring in these recruits, we bring in talented leaders that have been in the sales space for 10 plus years. I have to be able to seek to understand and then to be understood. So seek to understand what they're hurting, what are their pain points, which is literally a sale. It's like, tell me what's wrong with what you're doing now. They list it off. Now my sale is tailored toward what they need. I can answer all the questions. How does PureLight then solve their need?
Yeah.
Bridge that gap and sell the vision of PureLight for them to go sell solar.
Yep.
So the selling never stops. It just is a different product.